I am a connector of people,
Gotcha.
and it's a very unorthodox way to do real estate, but I honestly only enjoy the relational aspect and the
Mm,
networking aspect and the human aspect of real estate. Because if you want to be a traditional agent, um, you better enjoy paperwork and lawsuits
sure.
and stress and just so I said,
Understood.
how do I use my skills? And I figured this out. It was like,
Salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where our aim is to inspire and empower our listeners to live their best, audacious lives ever. Totally thrilled to have you here, and thank you for taking the time to join us on this journey towards embracing audacity in all aspects of life. Now, entrepreneurship and podcasting are like two sides of the same coin. Both require creativity and resilience and a willingness to step outside of the norm. And I've been doing a lot of episodes, and so I can totally understand this. And just as entrepreneurs take risks to pursue their dreams, podcasters like Sage Weiss are today, I guess today, use their platform to inspire and educate others on their unique journeys. Sage is a multifaceted entrepreneur, real estate agent, actor, and podcast host dedicated to helping people navigate the complexities of real estate and personal finance. With a passion for storytelling and a commitment to making a difference, Sage's journey is one of courage and audacity. In this episode, Sage shares insights into his unconventional approach to real estate, emphasizing the importance of delayed gratification and intentional decision making. As a pioneer in the field of referral-based real estate services, Sage's innovative business model challenges the traditional norms and empowers clients to make informed choices. So now that we're all set, let's turn our conversation over to Sage. Enjoy. Hey, Sage, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. I appreciate you taking the time for doing this, my friend.
thank you, Audley. Yeah, it's early in the morning, and I had to have myself a cup of coffee, but I am here. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. No, listen, it's well, I'm a morning guy to begin with, so I gotta tell you, this is a great time of day for getting me going. And I don't do the coffee thing, but no, I can appreciate those that find enjoyment of that. So no, again, this is awesome. We spend much time on this podcast, really just encouraging individuals to live that best audacious life that we talk about. And I think the important thing that we want to impact pass on to our listeners is, that pathway that we take to get there is going to be different for everyone. We're not all the same. We've all different goals, aspirations, skills, likes, interests, a whole bunch of things that will why it makes sense for why our paths are different, because we are all different. The key though is that we still have to push forward. We still have to take that first step when things are scary, we're uncertain, or that we think that they're hard. That's when we've got to proceed forward. And so, maybe as a starting point, we can get you to sort of tell our listeners a little bit about what you do, and as a guy that's certainly into real estate and personal finance, and you got your own podcast. And I just found out you're an actor too. My gosh, you got a lot on your plate.
I
Jeez.
do have a lot on my plate. Yeah, I don't know where to start. A way I like to break it down for people is I am someone who is very passionate about being a film and TV actor, and then I
Mhm.
found out that good luck making a living doing that. It's a long-term thing. I see my acting career taking decades. I'd love to be on a TV show one day or movie.
Mhm.
So far it's been commercials, stand-in work, short films, but a lot of my favorite actors, they didn't get that big role until 40 or 50, and I'm 25.
There you go.
So, how do you make money with a entertainment degree? Which I actually don't have a degree. I went to a conservatory, but how do you make money doing something where you're only the 1% of people make money? And I thought to myself, well, I could use my skills
Right.
for podcasting, for YouTube. I could get my real estate license. So I got my real estate license a year ago, and I said to myself, what do I want to be? What do I want to do? And I quickly found out that it wasn't being a traditional agent. Um
Right.
90% of agents fail within 2 years. Similar to how 90% of podcasts fade away into the
Hmm.
ether. And I said to myself,
They say
wow,
10 episodes is the average, I hear. Like
yeah,
in
and I'm at 23 now, and I'm like,
woohoo.
oh, I'm like, this is not easy. It's not easy. You know, hiring help to manage my YouTube, having experts like review my podcast. I mean, these things cost money, they cost time, but
Mm-hmm.
when I reached 11 episodes, I was like, wow, I did something that very few podcasts can ever do.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and then getting your workflow down and simplifying it. But
Sure.
back to the real estate thing, I decided, you know what? I'm weird. I like to do things different. What if I did real estate a really cursed way? What if I went ahead and was an agent that helped people everywhere? So I
Right.
started Sage Connect Realty, which is a referral company where people come to me. It doesn't
Okay.
matter what state they're in, even in other countries. They come to me as buyers and sellers of residential real estate, commercial
Okay.
real estate, investing, land, you name it. And I consult them on their purchase, which people really enjoy because real estate is really convoluted, confusing, it can be high
Sure.
pressure. So I consult them, which is a free service. I talk with them, I get to know them, understand what they want, and then I connect them to someone in my vast network of agents. And then that agent pays me for that referral. So I am a connector of people,
Gotcha.
and it's a very unorthodox way to do real estate, but I honestly only enjoy the relational aspect and the
Mm.
networking aspect and the human aspect of real estate, because if you want to be a traditional agent, um you better enjoy paperwork and lawsuits
Sure.
and stress and just oh, so I said,
Understood.
how do I use my skills? And I figured this out. And it's very rare for people to do this. It's difficult to do. And I've been
Right.
growing my podcast and my YouTube, and people come to me from Florida, Texas, Arizona, New York, Washington State, where I am,
Yeah.
uh, Canada, Europe, Australia, Japan, Dubai.
Right.
So my company, who I'm licensed through, is Keller Williams. So basically, anywhere where Keller Williams is, I'm able
Okay.
to operate. So I am a real estate agent that is able to work everywhere in a sense,
Gotcha.
the whole entire United States, and it's a incredible business model. And I'm glad I didn't try to be a regular agent, because I would be honest with you, I'd probably be in that 90%.
Right.
Um, it's hard. It's really hard.
So walk me through the process, what that looks like with you and a typical client, just to get a picture of what goes on.
Yeah. For instance, I have a client right now. They're not too far from here in Washington,
Hmm.
and they came to me about 6 months ago,
Hmm.
and they wanted to rent out their house. And you know, after a couple hours of talking with me, the entire mission and goal changed. They went from wanting to rent out their house, which they owned, and
Hmm.
they wanted to sell that house, and
Okay.
they wanted to get rid of their debt. Like me, I live debt free. I'm one of those crazy debt free people. And they were like, you know what? Actually, we don't want to rent out our house. We want to sell our house.
Okay.
So I got them connected with an agent. They did this big remodel, and now they're selling their house for about 1.1. And um that was 6 months ago. So I met with this couple and consulted them through
Mm.
this whole journey. And we talked
Yes.
about what they wanted to do, why they wanted to do it, what their goals were. And now 6 months later, they're selling their house. They're probably walking away with 500,000, 600,000. And
Right.
now they get to live their audacious life of traveling the
Sure.
world, traveling the United States. So that's an example. Someone
Yeah.
comes to me through the podcast or the YouTube. This just happened to be a friend of a friend.
Hmm.
And I I walk them through. You would be shocked how many questions and concerns people have, because here's the thing. When people go and they start their real estate purchase or sale, there could be a lot of pressure if you talk to an agent, work with me, work with me, work with me. Once you get your information out there, agents will constantly contact you. It can be really
Right.
stressful for people. So, in this whole process, I am a friend and a consultant that is
Mm.
free to that person. And it is the agent who pays me for that service.
Got
And
you.
throughout the whole transaction, not only is the agent working for the client, they are also beholden to me too.
Got you.
So
Got you.
it, it's a way for people to ask all of their questions, talk about their concerns and their dreams with
Hmm.
someone who is an insider, who works with people who are buying their first home all the way
Yes.
to multi-million dollar purchases. So I truly am there to just walk with people, be a friend, and I've spent anywhere from 30 minutes with someone all the way up to hours with someone, just answering questions, talking.
Right.
And
Right.
people really, really enjoy that service. And the buying the home is incredibly stressful.
Hmm.
Mistakes are incredibly costly.
Yep.
Um, and as you know, I have my YouTube channel as small as it is. I have 27 videos coming out, a video every week for the rest of the year. I have a professional editor now, and
Nice.
it's all around real estate and personal finance and just money in general. So that that is kind of the overall arcing thing that I do. Um, it's people ask me kind of what it's like. It's sort of like the Dave Ramsey show, or my company is kind of like that in a way where I am trying to be a personality and a voice
Right.
within the
Right.
world of money and real estate, and then people come to me. They trust that voice and they come to me seeking that guidance. So, long story short, it's fantastic. I spend my
Well,
days talking with
yeah.
incredible people.
Well, I mean, first, I love the model. It's off that beaten path, if you will.
Mhm.
Very unique, and but what it does, it provides you with an opportunity, as you said, to hone your skills and the things that you like to do, and that's all you can focus on. What it also does on the other side of the table too is for your clients is you're giving someone you're like they're getting someone who's invested in them wholeheartedly. That's there to listen to them, to respond to their needs specifically. There's no ulterior motives. There's nothing. So it's a very trusting environment or space that you've created within the context of this model, which I think is fantastic. Um, it's it. Oh, so I want to go back. So real estate, I just want to make sure that that was just something that you just generally had an interest in, where you wanted to be in, but not want be all the way in. I guess that what is that a safe way of putting it?
I had always been interested in it since I was in high school. And as you mentioned, off the beaten path, I'm one of those people that likes to do things the hard way for some reason. If you heard about my life, you would be like, holy crap, this guy's been through it. I don't like doing things conventional. I'm the first person in my family to actually not go to college, which is a really strange thing to tell people. Everyone in my family's lawyer, teacher, psychologist, professionals. And I was the first person to say, you know what? Instead of going to college, I'm going to start my own business, my own brand. So I took this audacious step, if you will, to skip this traditional path of going to
Love it.
college and do something really hard and unorthodox.
I love it. I love it. No, I think it's fantastic. And again, it allows again that trust is so and it's so big in this work, right? In this space to have that trusted face, that trusted person that's there for your own best interest, which is incredible. Um and now also and you even give me some things to think about. I love the manner in which you utilize your podcast and then and soon to be your YouTube channel to leverage that other side of of you, which I think is brilliant, really.
Yeah, it's I'm really big about branding, and also I look in the world and I think people need to be comfortable putting their voice out there. And in order for me to do that, I actually had to become an actor. I had to train. I was always kind of shy, and I could be a little standoffish when I was growing up in high school and early on in college. And the catalyst for all of this was getting out of my comfort zone. And in order to do that, I had to take risk. So in my life, I've taken a lot of risk. I've made a lot of choices that are really difficult in the moment, but pay off big time in the future. So one of the things I practice in my life constantly is delayed gratification. And I
Mm,
feel like all of this is delayed gratification because my business model, the way I'm building wealth, my YouTube, my podcast, these are all things that take years.
Mm,
Um, and I think often now we want a quick fix. And one of the things that has been instilled in me, and I'm so glad that the elders and the elders in my life have instilled this in me, is that incredible things take time. And I'm
absolutely.
sure you know this working on your podcast. It's not just boom, your podcast is here and all of a sudden thousands of people are listening to you. It is a labor of love, and I look at
Sure.
my journey as a marathon. It is a long run.
Well, I think that's a wonderful approach to it because you're absolutely correct. There's a desire for that quick, let's get it now kind of a thing, and I believe that as quickly as something comes, as quickly as it can go as well too, right? And I the approach of and you talk about delayed gratification, um, it I like that. I think what it really does, it enables you to be patient about the things that you want, but it also allows you to be very intentional too, where to the point where you can strategize, where you can problem solve, and you can also be creative.
Yeah.
And that's clearly what you've done.
Yeah, I would say I can't tell you. I mean, and here's the funny thing. I'm actually an impulsive person. Like I like to go, go, go. I can't tell you how much money I have lost oddly on stupid things, stupid short-term things. I lost $5,000 like 2 months ago just because of a dumb thing I decided to do. And thankfully I can lose that. But I am I've done some dumb stuff. And every time I do dumb stuff, and I think I'm done doing dumb stuff, at least with money for now. Um, you know, I say to myself, okay, why did you do that? What were you trying to do? And it's always that thing in the back of my head, like, get rich now, get rich now. And my business model and my life, you know, it it could be painful. I have to remind myself constantly. And I don't know if you have this. I'm sure some of your listeners do, but there's like this imposter syndrome. Like you have to be successful and wealthy and have all the stuff you want now, and I have to fight that demon off constantly, and I find myself doing dumb things. I tried the $5,000 I lost was with a crypto thing,
Mm,
and God, that was dumb, you know, but but every time I try to do something easy or fast, it backfires.
right.
And I found, as you mentioned, when you're intentional and do things long term, you have to remind yourself that, you're not less, or you're not, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not, it's tough because I want to be the person that has all the stuff now.
Right.
I want to
Right.
see the world and enjoy everything at 25 years old. And I have to remind myself that a lot of 25-year-olds are nowhere, right now. Like all the people I look up to at 25 were struggling, and I'm sure you know how difficult life is now.
Sure.
And working in real estate, I come across people that are 50 years old and they're having to make incredibly difficult decisions
Sure.
in terms of their money and their real estate. And I have to remind myself the world is weird right now. It is hard. I don't, sometimes I ask myself, would I want to be born in the past? Would I want to live right now? What were the pros of living in like the 80s or the
Right.
90s?
Right. 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 Right.
It's
Right.
really difficult. And one of the things I really enjoy through the service I do is I get to just talk with people about their
Sure.
struggles. Because
Yep.
when you're going through a
Yep.
real estate transaction, there's a million motives and reasons why someone might be doing what they're doing.
Totally. Totally.
And almost all of them are motivated by fear, I find.
Mm,
Um, and another thing about living an audacious life is you kind of have to be comfortable with fear, I feel like.
absolutely.
I have it, I'm sure you have it, but there's a lot of fear when it comes to a real estate transaction.
No, well, listen, I mean, well, so I'm gonna touch on that, but I want to go back because, what you call a dumb move with that $5,000 was just you just paid for that lesson, really, because you're not gonna make that mistake again. So it
Yeah,
cost
yeah,
you. It was a five
it
thousand
did.
dollar lesson, right? But it
Mhm,
costs you. It only becomes dumb if you do the exact same thing again. Then I'm like,
mhm.
yeah, Sage, it's on you, buddy. That's out. But I mean, at this point, you learn the lesson. you're not going to learn it again. Thank you for talking about fear because that's a really important one. It's difficult for people at times to be able to take that step without knowing what the rest of the plan looks like, right? You've got to have an incentive. Hope is a really good word. Optimism is a fantastic word to use in this situation. To be able to trust that you're making the right move. Sometimes it's your gut that's talking to you or your intuition that you're using. But whatever word that you insert there needs to be an element of that thing that says, let's just do this anyways. And, there's one or two things that can happen, Sage, in these situations. You try something that doesn't work out, or you try something that works out. But if it doesn't work out, much like your $5,000 investment, you learn the lesson.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like a lot of people want to do things, and sometimes, and I find this true with myself, people want to do things, but they want someone to give them that push. They want someone to just
Sure.
push them over the edge into that world. And I feel like that was real estate for me. I've had, I'd say, two or three really powerful mentors when it comes to real estate. And
Hmm.
I don't think I would be here unless Mindy, who was one of my mentors, Mindy and Katrina, Mindy gave me just a push and said, "All right, you're going to do this. I know you want to do this, but I was just waiting for someone to give me that little push into this world." And with real estate, a lot of people are like that. They know they want to do it. They've thought
Right.
about it, and they
Right.
just want someone to just gently push them. Because
Yeah.
they don't want to take that first step. And
Yeah.
that's what I do a lot with people, whether it's a $200,000 condo or a $2 million multifamily unit. People just want a push, and I found that to be true.
Yeah. No, no, it's. I mean, let's be clear. I know there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, motivators come in different, shapes and forms, and I think being able to be in that position to be the pusher is a great thing, right? Like that helping people get to where they get to. I would imagine there's a great deal of satisfaction and fulfillment from being able to do that, right?
Yeah, I've changed the courses of people's lives, which is wild. A great example of that would be the listing right down the road.
Hmm.
Uh, their life could look completely different if they had gone on the path they were going to go on, and now their path looks completely different. I'm not taking credit for that necessarily, but I don't know if I wouldn't have, not come along in their lives, if they would be in the position they are now with
Right.
being debt free and wanting to travel all over the country. Um, the greatest satisfaction comes from seeing how I impact people's lives, but some of the things I've helped with, I won't see the full effect until their children roam this earth, their
Yeah. Yeah.
grandchildren.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
Um,
right. You're right.
and that's the greatest thing, because real estate is a way to, I feel like, change lives, build wealth. And I'm someone who grew up with, my dad. He didn't own any real estate. I was one of those apartment kids that was hopping from apartment to
Sure.
apartment.
Sure.
I was homeless for a while. I mean, I see the impact that ownership of your life, but also of property, of land, can make
Right.
in someone's life
Yep.
and their family and their destiny.
Yep. Amazing. Amazing. And then so I want to go back because again, your strategy, which I think is brilliant, the whole podcast and YouTube channel. Did you start those first, or was the business first, or did you kind of do it all at the same time, or what did
So
that look
so I
like?
get my license, and it takes me about 3 months to kind of formulate and figure out what am I trying to do. And I feel like for me, I
And
don't know
sorry,
if
I
this is
want.
true for you.
Sorry, I want to be clear, Sage, because
Yeah.
when you got your license, did you know this is what you were going to do, or when you got your license with the anticipation of being an agent?
I think it was more of with the anticipation of being an agent.
Gotcha.
Um, I think a lot of people come into real estate, and one of the other things I do too is I actually sponsor agents when they start their career in real estate. So I've talked
Okay.
with people all over the country who want to get their real estate career started,
Hmm.
and I sponsor them through that process. I am their sponsee into Keller Williams, which is a great brokerage if you just want to become a new agent and train. You don't
Hmm.
have to spend your
Hmm.
whole career here,
Right.
but the
Right.
training is fantastic. And I sponsor people through that journey, and much like the people I sponsor, I came in with the idea of just being a traditional agent. And
Sure.
then I spent 3 months kind of figuring out that that is how should I say that 90% failure rate and that incredibly expensive it's very expensive to be an agent.
Sure.
I mean, it is very expensive. And I it took me 3 months to figure out there's no way. There's no way I'm doing this the traditional way. So I actually came in with the idea of being this high flying agent and make all this money and be
Right.
the traditional agent. And after watching the everyone around my office and in my real estate life, I find there are a lot of deeply, deeply unsatisfied people in the world of
Mm-hmm.
real estate. Um, and a lot of what real estate becomes and owning a business too is just paying everyone else. Um, when you're a real estate agent, you get to pay everybody before you get paid. You think, the average commission check around my area is about 20,000 ish.
Mm-hmm.
After that process is done, you're walking away with probably 10, maybe
Right.
less.
Right.
And I'm one of those people that like to pay myself first and build wealth. And I was like, I don't think I could stomach that. I don't think I could, even if I was making, and there's people in my office that there's 7 people I think that make 1 million a year or more. And I can't say all of them are happy necessarily. I can't
Right.
speak for all of them, but I've just seen a lot of deeply unsatisfied agents because it's
Mm-hmm.
this constant, it's just it's like you're employed, you're unemployed, you're employed, you're unemployed,
Right.
and
Right. Right.
you are so dependent on the market. And I was like, how do I build a business where if the local market's doing bad, it doesn't affect me? Um,
Got you.
how do I build a business where I get to keep, close to 100% of my earnings? How do I
Mm.
do that? So I came across referrals, and that took 3 months of honestly just watching people get burned out, chewed up, spit out. I mean, if you observe real estate agents long enough, they're an interesting group of people. I think we're an interesting group of people. I would say, oh, I'm really glad I didn't try to be an agent because I don't think I would be here. So that
Okay.
took
Okay.
3 months. And
Yep.
then I say, okay, let's start a company. Let's start a business. Let's try to do something that's only referrals. So
Right. Right.
3 months after being licensed, I found Sage Connect Realty, and I actually start the process of figuring out what the podcast is going to look like and what the
Mm-hmm.
YouTube channel is going to look like.
Got you.
And fast forward to now, the YouTube channel's out there, the podcast is out there, and those are my main avenues for generating clients. So,
Love it.
yeah, I'd say the past year has been pretty wild.
Love it.
But it is so exciting to see how fast things grow in your life when you
Yep.
have a great podcast and you have a YouTube channel that's
Right.
going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I would have gone back to the second I got licensed, like if I could take a time machine right back and talk to
Yes.
myself,
Yes.
I would
Yes.
be like, "You're making the right choice. You're doing the right thing. It doesn't seem like it, but you're doing the right thing." And
I
I
love
can't
it.
tell you how much failure it took just to get to this point where I'm sitting now.
Yep.
The amount of failure has been astounding.
Yep. Yep. And I'll tell you, there will be more along your journey. Right. That's just
Mm.
the process of life, and that's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Let's let our listeners know if people want to connect with you or work with you, where can we send them?
Yeah, so there's a myriad of different ways. And I've
Okay.
done that intentionally, but the best thing you can do is you can listen to my podcast, Life, Money, and More. You can also find me on YouTube at Sage Weiss. And if you want to go to my website, which is the way some people reach out to me, it's
Mm-hmm.
sageconnectrealty.com. That's my website. I also have my email, which is my business email, which some people reach out to me that way. It's
Yep.
very simple. I don't know how I got this email, but it's just Sage, SAGE at KW.com. Best email on planet Earth. So
Love it.
those are the ways that people reach out to me. And typically
Love it.
people come to me, it's usually because they're podcast listeners right
Mm-hmm.
now, at least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a lot of ways to get a hold of me. I'm very accessible.
I love it. I love it. Well, Sage, I congratulate you on finding your pathway and finding your way. I think you've done a fantastic job of building something that works for you, right? Like you were very clear on what you wanted to do, what you didn't want to do, and you designed something that fit your needs first, but then that secondary is the clients that you've been able to help. So congratulations for that, to finding your pathway. And I know this is just the step of a long intentional process like we talked about earlier, which is fantastic as well too. I appreciate you for being here today on the Audacious Living podcast. Thank you for sharing, and all the best, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I live an audacious life, and I'm glad I was on the most audacious podcast out there.
Appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you.
Back right here on the podcast, Sage's story is a testament to the power of daring to be different and forging your own path by embracing risk, learning from failures, and staying true to your vision. Sage has created a business that not only benefits his clients, but also enriches his own life. His dedication to building meaningful connections, which is key, as well as avoiding and providing valuable guidance, sets him apart from in a competitive industry. And I'd encourage you to connect with Sage directly and explore the services that he offers. You can find all his contact details in the show notes below, and I'd encourage you to reach out to him for personalized real estate advice, financial insights, and to discover how this unique approach can benefit you. Certainly keep an eye out for special offers, exclusives directly from Sage, designed to support your real estate goals and enhance your financial well-being. Visit his website or contact him directly for more information. It certainly will be a call that you won't regret. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Audacious Living podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode with Sage, please like, follow, subscribe, or share if you haven't already done so. This is how we reach even more listeners and continue to inspire audacity in all aspects of life. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations and audacious stories in the episodes to come. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.